Hey Cubs, we are back with another episode of the Teddy Bear Rescue Squad. This time I'm actually going to be doing two bears. The reason for this is both are fairly straightforward. So we'll start with this guy. His name is Tumble Bear, and he's not keeping the outfit. But part of the reason why I picked him for my husband is the outfit is going to make a great template for something else I have planned down the line. But Tumble himself actually looks like the offspring of two of our pre-existing bears. So it was just kind of too cute to pass him up because of that. So he's going to get a wash, and did find a couple of holes in him, so they'll get sewn up as well. And the other one, some of you may remember his unboxing video, is Scrappy here. He is a Build-A-Bear Waggly pup, and if I just find his switch, which of course can't get hold of, there it is. There we go. So his battery's pretty much knackered, but he should bark and his tail should wag. I've had one of these guys before, and what I did then was I took out the entire mechanism from him, and I plan on doing the exact same thing again, because he's got really soft fur, but he's just got this really hard mechanism in him, which I really don't like. Not only that, he's kind of practice for something else I've got planned, which you'll just have to wait and see what that is, but I'm quite excited for both of them. So yeah, these guys are going to get them. So these guys are going to get their turn at the rescue squad. So let's get going. So the outfit on Tumble Bear was really odd, more because of the combination than anything, because it's like a swimwear outfit with like bed socks. You're just like, why? Yeah, but he's really cute, really soft, really cuddly, and I don't know why, but I love seeing the bears inside out. They just look kind of creepy. Knowing that they look like that on the inside, yet cute and cuddly on the outside. But Tumble Bear was probably the easiest makeover I've done, because it was simply a case of washing, stitching his holes back together, and brushing him down. So I will let you guys enjoy this process. was a lot trickier. Very difficult to actually unstuff a Build-A-Bear if you don't get the back open enough, and even then sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. But I managed to cut out the mechanism alright. I need to apologise about the glass. Again, it's like I said, it's been a while since I recorded this, but still trying to get the hang of making sure what's in and out of the frame is a bit tricky, but it should be better now that I'm using the gooseneck, but it's a little while before we get to that, because I've got all these videos pre-recorded. But yeah, then once I got the battery pack out first. This is the actual mechanism itself, so it's just unstitching the pouch that everything's tucked away inside of, and just tidying everything up. And I have actually kept the battery pack because I thought it might come in handy in the future, just don't know. But I'm really happy with how this worked out. You know, it could have been a disaster, he could have completely fallen apart, though having done it once before, I kind of had an idea of what I was doing. Part of me did kind of forget because it's been a while since I did do it, and there were bits that, you know, he ended up with a hole in his leg, which didn't happen last time. I'm fairly sure I actually did it last time whilst at work at Build-A-Bear, you know, on the shop floor, because during the week when it's school time it got really quiet, so you could do things like that. But yeah, I turned him inside out as well, make sure I got all the mechanism out, and I also took his magnet out of his mouth, because he didn't need it and I didn't want it going rusty when I washed him, and the rust to come through on his mouth like it did with Paddy. But yeah, turning a Build-A-Bear inside out is really tricky because you've got to do it through the back hole. Especially Paddy. Paddy was quite tricky, but I got there in the end. And then again, what I do is I give the bears a quick brush through once before I start stuffing, and then I give them a full brush down afterwards. So yeah, just not sure why I turned him inside out again. Or this would have been to stitch the hole, I think. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's been a while since I recorded this, so oh yeah, there we go, just stitching the hole. So that was definitely why I did that, but why I turned him, it's better to wash them right side out than it is inside out. Just make sure you get everything out of the fur, because I think it was Scrappy that I noticed he had some pen marks or something on him, and I had to wash those out, but they came out easily enough, so it was probably just kids washable markers, that kind of thing. This whole video I did such a great job of keeping everything in frame. This was my first attempt at top down. This was before I got the gooseneck. I tried using what I refer to as the static tripod. Basically it doesn't tilt, yeah, and then the flexible one on top, and it did work as a setup, but if you saw my recent vlog, no, actually, I think I mentioned it in the villains video, which is out on Monday. So it would have been out already, but is what it is. But basically, that setup no longer works, which is a pain. But you know, these things happen. Stuffing Scrappy was a bit of a challenge because I wanted him to be able to stand up, and you can really see how a stuffing machine like they have at Build-A-Bear comes in handy with these guys, because it takes so much work to do doing it by hand. but it's still a rewarding process because, you know, in the end they look great, which is the main thing. And actually, despite stuffing him so that he can stand, he actually sits most of the time. But there we go. It's always worth doing, because if I do decide I want him to stand, he will be able to, which is always good. Once he's all stuffed, I can stitch his back up. One thing I found sad about him is, like with Paddy, he didn't have a heart inside him. I do want to get something to go into the bears, or like, I don't know if you guys remember on the 90s version of the Care Bears, I think it was, they had a little plastic heart on the outside. If I can find an image, I will flash it up for you. Yeah, and I'd love to have something like that for the bears, just the ones that go on the Rescue Squad episodes. So I think that would be really cool, and a way to tie them all together. Whether or not I'll actually be able to do that, I don't know. We shall have to wait and see. Had an issue stitching his back up, because I'm not sure why there was two lots of footage for this. I also apologise for the kind of cloudy appearance of this. I'm not sure what happened. The original footage, before I did some colour correcting, it looked like that maybe the camera lens had misted over for some reason. It was a warmer day that day. As you can see, I'm in a t-shirt now, not my hoodie. I think this would have been done where, for the most part, it was still chilly, but we had the odd warm day in between, because I'll go back to my hoodie in a bit. So yeah, that's the only thing I can think, is that the lens got misted over and I hadn't realised. But there we go. And then onto his brush down, which I did do quite a bit of with him. Just wanted to bring out the softness of his fur. Yeah, this method works really well. I'm really happy with how it's made him feel. And throughout this whole process, I knew I wanted to alter Scrappy in some way, but I hadn't really figured out how, until it suddenly dawned on me, why not give him toe beans? So that is exactly what I did. And again, the fabric I used was this double-sided cuddle soft fleece, I think they call it. And it makes such a mess, because it's kind of like with fur fabric that, you know, ideally you cut the back and that will stop it shedding so much, but you can't do that with this, because like I say, it's double-sided, so you're kind of stuck with it. But it is so soft. and it just works really well with the rest of him. And it did take some doing, because obviously cutting out 4 lots of paw pads, and then where are we, 16 actual toe beans. Took a very long time, but I'm so glad I did it, because it's really worth it. It works really, really well. But I'm going to be quiet now and let you guys enjoy the rest of this. Things went a lot better than they did with Iggy, which I had a feeling they would. 1 or 2 small hiccups, but, you know, all fixable. Our Tumble Bear, let me just grab him, was the easiest one. As pretty much all hubby wanted me to do for him was give him a wash and sew up his holes, which I did. He had one on the back of his neck and one on his leg, and he had 2 threads where his darts are on his stomach, which I had to snip off, which then opened up the darts, so I restitched those, and then yeah, he just got restuffed, and yeah, really happy with how he came out. And then, sorry, you got to share the limelight today, Scrappy. I'm really happy with how he came out. Slide you over there. So I took out his mechanism, restitched his side, had a loose thread on his leg which also needed stitching, and I'm probably going to be finding bits of pink fluff for probably the rest of the year now, but I'm really happy with how his paw pads came out. They're not perfect, but you know, for a first attempt, really happy with them. There we go. I think that's probably the best one out of all of them. Yeah, and I really like how the mottled effect came out. So yeah, super happy with him. I did attempt to do mottling on his nose, but with that fabric it didn't work. And that's just some of his normal stitching, not something I've left behind. So I might get some other fabric to give it another go. I'm not sure yet. And I would like to give him a collar. I just need some tools for that. I've got the material, but yeah, I just need proper tools to do it. So that's it for this one, Cubs, and I will see you in the next one.